Chapter 16. Chapter on Healing Illness. O noble goddess, at that time, when incalculable and still more incalculable eons, extensive, inconceivable, and immeasurable have passed, at that time, at that moment, the Tathagata, the Arhat, the fully enlightened one called Ratnashikan, perfect in wisdom and conduct, gone to bliss, knower of the world, charioteer of men to be tamed, peerless teacher of men and gods, arose in the world. O noble goddess, at that time, and at that moment, when Ratnashikan, the Tathagata, the Arhat, the fully enlightened one, passes into the state beyond suffering, when his teachings completely disappear, and when there remains just a semblance of teachings, there was a king called Sureshvarprabha, who was victorious, who ruled his kingdom according to the Dharma and not according to non-Dharma. He was like a mother and father to beings who lived in his realm. O noble goddess, at that time, in that moment, there lived in the kingdom of King Sureshvarprabha a merchant called Jatamdara, a doctor and a healer, an expert in elements. He was well versed in the eightfold treatise of medical science. O noble goddess, at that time, at that moment, the merchant Jatamdara had a son called Jalavahana, handsome, attractive, blessed with immaculately clear complexion, an expert in various treatises, and master of all treatises, learned in writing, numerology, palm reading, and astrology. O noble goddess, at that time and at that moment, hundreds of thousands of beings in the kingdom of Sureshvarprabha were afflicted with various disease. They were oppressed by various diseases. They experienced pain that was unbearably sharp, severe, and violent. They, O noble goddess, at that time and that moment, Jalavahana, the merchant's son, developed a mind of great compassion for the hundreds of thousands of beings afflicted with and oppressed by various diseases. These numerous hundreds of thousands of beings are afflicted and oppressed by various diseases. They are experiencing unbearable, sharp, severe, and violent sensations of suffering. My father, Jatamdara, a doctor and healer, an expert in the elements, well versed in the eightfold treatise on medical science, is old and in the waning phase, decrepit and dependent upon a walking stick. He is unable to go to the village, cities, settlements, valleys, regions, and royal palaces in order to completely free beings who are afflicted with distress and various diseases from numerous ailments. I shall approach and fully consult my father, Jatamdara, on how to become knowledgeable about the elements involved in illness. With this special knowledge, I shall go to the villages, cities, settlements, valley regions, and royal palaces and completely free hundreds of thousands of beings from their various sickness. Moreover, O noble goddess, at that time and at that moment, Jalavahana, the merchant's son, went to his father, Jatamdara. He approached him and bowed at the feet of his father, Jatamdara, folded his palm in reverence and sat to one side. Remaining on one side, he questioned his father, Jatamdara, in these verses. How do the sense apprehend objects? How do the elements change? At what time do embodied beings receive elements that cause disease? How does the eating of food, timely or untimely, affect well-being? By what is the fire in the body not affected? How is medicine practiced in order to pacify illness that have risen from wind and from bile, from phlegm and from the compound of these? When does wind, when does bile, when does phlegm, harmful to beings, become active? Then the merchant Jatamdara revealed to his son Jalavahana the verses through which one gains mastery of the elements. See that the 3 months are summer and 3 are autumn. There are winter, 3 are winter, and 3 are spring. Thus, the succession of months forms 6 phases. 12 months are said to be 1 year. Note: 3 and 3 are phase in brief. The monthly phases is shown in twos. When food and drink are thus taken and digested, the doctor, elements in phases 2 are shown. The sense and elements in turn change in various phases of the year. As the senses go through such changes, afflictions arise for embodied beings. In that case, a doctor must have knowledge of the 3 months fourfold division and the 6 phases grouping of the 2 months. Food, drink, and medicine follow this sequence. In summer arise illnesses from excess wind. In autumn come bile disturbances occur. Likewise, disease from compound appear in winter. In spring arise illness from excess phlegm. Fatty, warm, salty, and sour are summer's taste. Fatty, sweet, and cold are fall's. Sweet, fatty, and sour are tastes of winter. Coarse, warm, and bitter for spring. Excess of phlegm arise soon after eating. Excess of bile during digestion time. Excess of wind soon after. This is how elemental changes occur. Heal wind in a person with rich, potent food. Remove bile by cleansing the bowels. For excess phlegm, dispense an emetic. When a compound occur, thus give potent medicine possessed of 3 qualities. Know well in which phase excess wind, bile, phlegm, and a compound occur, according to elements, body, and time. One thus gives medicine, food, and drink. Then the merchant's son, Jalavahana, having inquired about the elements, understood the 8 branches of medicinal science. O noble goddess, at that time and at that moment, Jalavahana, the merchant's son, went to all the villages, cities, towns, valleys, regions, and royal palaces of the land of King Sureshvaraprabha. He comforted those numerous hundreds of thousands of beings afflicted with and distressed by various disease, declaring, "I am a doctor, I am a doctor." Advertising himself in this way, he gave them relief and said, "I will completely free you from every affliction." O noble goddess, as soon as they heard such statements as these from Jalavahana, the merchant's son, those numerous hundreds of thousands of beings were overcome with unfathomable great joy. They received comfort and were endowed with inconceivable happiness, peace, and peace of mind. At that time and at that moment, those hundreds of thousands of beings afflicted with and distressed by various ailments were completely cured of their illness and became free of illness. After becoming free of illness, they became endowed with prowess, strength, and energy as before. Furthermore, at that time and at that moment, among the hundreds of thousands of beings afflicted with and distressed by various ailments, those who were acutely afflicted with severe illnesses approached Jalavahana, the merchant's son. Whatever medicine was prescribed by Jalavahana, the merchant's son, to the hundreds of thousands of beings afflicted with various illnesses and distressed by various diseases, cured the illnesses from all those beings, cured of all illnesses, and with their suffering greatly reduced, they became endowed with prowess, strength, and energy as before. O noble goddess, at that time and at that moment, in the village, cities, towns, valley, regions, and royal palaces, in the kingdom of King Sureshvaraprabha, hundreds of thousands of beings afflicted with and distressed by various disease were freed completely from their illness by Jalavahana, the merchant's son. This concludes the 16th chapter, the chapter on healing illness, from the King of Glorious Sutra, the Sublime Golden Light.